There comes a decisive hour in every person's life when they must stop hoping for life to become easier and start training themselves to become stronger. Comfort is the drug of mediocrity. Challenge is the elixir of greatness. The difference between the weak and the strong is not in talent nor opportunity, but in their relationship with difficulty. One avoids it, the other seeks it. The one who learns to love difficulty conquers destiny itself. I did not begin with strength. I began, as most do, ruled by moods, addicted to ease, enslaved by the smallest discomfort. I wanted achievement without exertion, confidence without discipline, peace without self-control. And like every man who chases reward without responsibility, I met failure at every turn. I discovered that the mind, when untrained, conspires against its own potential. It rebels against effort. It flees from pressure. It clings to what is familiar, even when the familiar destroys it. Then came the moment of awakening, the realization that the brain is not a master, it is a servant awaiting instruction. It can be trained, conditioned, and rewired until pain becomes signal, not suffering, until effort becomes excitement, not exhaustion. From that day forward, I made a vow. I will re-educate my mind to crave the hard thing. I would turn aversion into appetite, fear into focus, resistance into ritual. For I understood that the only path to freedom runs straight through the valley of discipline. The first law of mastery is that your thoughts create your tendencies. The mind repeats what is rewarded. If you reward ease, it will chase laziness. If you reward challenge, it will chase growth. Every decision you make is a lesson to your subconscious. Each time you avoid discomfort, you teach the brain that avoidance equals safety. Each time you confront it, you teach the brain that confrontation equals power. Over time, those lessons crystallize into habit, and habit becomes character. Your task, therefore, is simple but not easy. To reverse the training the world has imposed upon you. Society conditions you to seek pleasure first, to escape inconvenience, to consume instead of create. It praises leisure more than labor, comfort more than conquest. But nothing of permanent value is born in comfort. Comfort is the womb of decay. Every empire that grew soft in comfort soon fell. Every mind that surrendered to convenience became dull. The world does not owe you ease. It owes you opportunity, and opportunity hides in difficulty. To force your brain to crave doing hard things, begin by understanding that emotion follows action, not the other way around. Most wait to feel motivated before they act. The disciplined act until they feel motivated. Action generates emotion. Movement breeds momentum. The secret is to move before your mood matures. Every time you override hesitation, you strengthen command. Every time you act despite resistance, you teach the brain that obedience to purpose outweighs obedience to feeling. Discipline is simply remembering what you want most when you are tempted by what you want now. The undisciplined surrender to moods. The disciplined are ruled by mission. Ask yourself each morning, what deserves my energy today? And then give it without reservation. The brain will complain at first. It will whisper, rest, delay, tomorrow. Ignore it. Train it as you would train a restless animal, firm hand. Steady voice, no compromise. In time, it will obey. In longer time, it will begin to enjoy obedience. Understand this. The brain loves familiarity more than success. It prefers known suffering to unknown growth. That is why change feels painful. You are asking the brain to abandon a pattern that kept you safe in smaller battles. To win greater wars, you must teach it that safety is found not in stillness, but in progress. This is the turning point of all mastery, when the mind associates hardship with life itself. Then every challenge becomes nourishment, every test a feast. Emotional detachment is the gate through which this transformation passes. As long as you judge every effort by how it feels, you remain a slave to mood. The master separates feeling from function. He understands that discomfort is not a verdict, it is data. Pain says, here is the edge of your current capacity. The disciplined mind replies, then I will push the edge. Detachment allows reason to replace reaction. It keeps you from mistaking difficulty for danger. When emotion rules, confusion follows. When discipline rules, clarity appears. The calm thinker acts, the reactive thinker overreacts. Every time you detach from impulse, you strengthen willpower. Every time you surrender to impulse, you weaken it. The law is exact. Willpower grows through resistance and decays through indulgence. Train yourself to pause between urge and action. That pause is power. It is the space where you reclaim sovereignty from habit. In that brief silence, you can remind yourself of purpose, weigh consequence, and choose creation over compulsion. The undisciplined have no pause. They live as reflex. The disciplined live as response. Accurate thinking is the compass that guides this response. Emotion clouds judgment. Detachment clears it. Ask not, do I like this? But will this move me toward my purpose? Feelings fluctuate, facts remain. The mind that clings to facts is free from the tyranny of mood. Napoleon Hill once wrote that accurate thinking demands two questions of every idea. Is it true, and is it important? Apply those same questions to your reactions, and half of life's chaos disappears. To build mental discipline, begin with structure. The undisciplined rely on motivation. The disciplined rely on systems. Design your environment to make the right action automatic. Eliminate what tempts distraction. Surround yourself with reminders of direction. Routine is not restriction. It is liberation from indecision. Every decision drains energy. Structure conserves it. Order is a shield against chaos. Each morning, before the world's noise invades, command your mind through ritual. Stand tall, breathe deeply, and speak to yourself with authority. Tell your subconscious exactly who you are and what you expect. I am the master of my emotions. I choose challenge over comfort. I move toward what strengthens me. I finish what I begin. Say it not as wish, but as law. The subconscious obeys the language of certainty. Autosuggestion is the bridge between intention and identity. The words you repeat imprint the blueprint of your future. The mind accepts what it hears most often, regardless of truth. If you constantly affirm weakness, weakness becomes your nature. If you affirm strength, strength becomes automatic. Repetition is the hammer that forges belief. Hammer long enough and you reshape the mind's metal. But repetition alone is not enough. Emotion gives repetition its power. When you affirm courage, feel courage, as if it were already yours. When you affirm calmness, embody calmness. The subconscious does not respond to empty words, it responds to vibration. To reprogram the brain, you must feel the state you wish to create. Visualization is emotion wearing the mask of imagination. What you vividly picture, your mind begins to crave. Picture struggle as glory, and soon you will run toward it. Once the mind has tasted the pride of overcoming, it hungers for it again. It remembers the rush of conquest, the dignity of endurance, the satisfaction of completion. This memory becomes a new source of pleasure. That is how craving is reversed. You no longer seek the easy path because the easy path feels empty. Your pleasure comes from progress. Your joy comes from strength. The next law is definiteness of purpose. Without a clear aim, discipline drifts into misery. The human will was not designed for endless self-denial. It was designed for directed creation. Purpose gives suffering meaning. Without meaning, pain becomes unbearable. With meaning, pain becomes fuel. The man who knows why he must endure can endure almost anyhow. Define your purpose with brutal clarity. What do you exist to accomplish? Whose life will be changed because you refuse to remain ordinary? Purpose is not found, it is decided. Do not wait for inspiration. Choose it, write it, and commit to it until it becomes sacred. When your purpose is definite, discipline becomes devotion. Definiteness creates energy. Energy creates momentum. Momentum silences doubt. The mind that hesitates dies of hesitation. The mind that decides moves mountains. Each day, remind yourself, I have decided. I am doing what must be done. I will finish what I start. In that declaration lies power beyond imagination. Do not expect emotion to applaud you in this process. Emotion will resist. It will whisper that you are tired, that you deserve rest, that no one will notice your effort. Smile at it, acknowledge it, then proceed anyway. The power of discipline lies in movement without mood. When emotion learns that you act regardless of it, it ceases to argue. That is when you become unstoppable. Self-control is not the absence of passion. It is passion harnessed. The disciplined man is not cold, he is concentrated. His energy does not spill in 1,000 directions, it flows like a laser, cutting through distraction, illuminating purpose. He does not waste emotion on complaint or comparison. He spends it on creation. Every time you feel frustration, channel it into fuel. Every time you feel fear, convert it into focus. The alchemy of success is the conversion of emotion into motion. To force your brain to crave doing hard things, you must make progress feel good. Reward yourself not with escape, but with acknowledgement. Each night, review your day and recognize every act of discipline, no matter how small. The brain associates progress with pleasure. The more you celebrate perseverance, the more the subconscious seeks it. But beware of rewarding failure disguised as rest. Rest is recovery, not retreat. There is a difference between pausing to breathe and quitting to hide. You will fail at times. You will relapse into comfort, procrastinate, indulge. Do not curse these moments. Use them as data. Study your weakness without self-hate. Detachment applies here too. Ask, what triggered this surrender? What lesson does it offer? Turn every failure into a laboratory. The mind that analyzes rather than agonizes transforms setbacks into strategy. Persistence is the final ingredient. Discipline without persistence is a spark without fuel. The brain learns through repetition across time. Do not expect transformation in days. Expect evidence in months and mastery in years. Most give up when growth is invisible, unaware that progress is accumulating beneath perception. The seed does not sprout the day it is planted. It germinates in darkness. So does discipline. Trust the unseen work. If you continue long enough, something irreversible happens. You wake one morning and realize you no longer argue with yourself. The voice of resistance is silent. The tasks that once terrified you now thrill you. The work you used to dread has become the way you pray. You have crossed the threshold of transformation. That is when the world begins to notice. They will call you gifted, not knowing it was training. They will call you lucky, not knowing it was labor. They will call you calm, not knowing the storms you mastered within. Let them. The disciplined owe no explanation. They simply continue to build while the undisciplined continue to talk. And at the end of each day, when you lay your head upon the pillow, you will feel the rare peace of one who ruled himself. For the highest luxury in life is control over your own mind. No fortune, no fame, no applause can equal that satisfaction. The man who governs thought governs destiny. Understand this truth. You cannot command the world until you have commanded yourself. You cannot build greatness upon the shifting sands of impulse. Every achievement that endures is born from an inner stillness, a mind so trained that its first instinct in difficulty is focus, not fear. The man who controls his inner dialogue controls his destiny, because the world responds to the vibration of conviction more than the noise of struggle. Every morning, before you touch your phone, before you look at the world, before a single word escapes your lips, you must enter your mind like a general entering his command room. Sit still, breathe, observe the first thoughts that arrive. Ask, who sent you fear or faith? Reject those that drain your spirit. Strengthen those that call you forward. You are the gatekeeper of your consciousness. Whatever enters will shape the day's outcome. Most let anyone walk through that gate: news, gossip, opinions, complaints, and wonder why their kingdom is in disorder. Guard it fiercely. Your mind is soil. Every thought you plant will grow, whether weed or wheat. If you do not plant consciously, weeds of doubt will grow by default. Each negative thought unchallenged becomes a root. Each root becomes a belief. Each belief becomes a limitation. The only way to uproot these weeds is through consistent mental replacement, not by suppression, but by substitution. You cannot delete a thought. You must displace it. Replace "this is hard" with "this is how I grow." Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning." Replace "why me" with "try me." The brain will resist at first, but persistence reshapes pattern. The law of repetition governs the subconscious. It does not care what you feed it. It will build whatever it hears most. If you feed it weakness, it will automate avoidance. If you feed it power, it will automate progress. The subconscious cannot tell the difference between truth and rehearsal. It only obeys intensity and frequency. So rehearse the mindset you wish to live until the rehearsal becomes reality. Do not wait for confidence to appear before you act. Confidence is the child of consistency. Act and confidence follows. Each time you act despite resistance, you prove to the brain that you are safe in discomfort. It learns to associate strain with safety. That is how fear dissolves, not by fighting it, but by walking through it until the brain realizes there was never danger. You must learn to love the edge, the invisible frontier, where your current ability meets the unknown. Most people avoid that edge because it exposes their weakness. But weakness exposed is weakness that can be strengthened. That edge is where life expands. When you learn to meet the edge daily, you develop mental calluses that protect you from future pain. The edge becomes your home, not your enemy. Challenge must become ritual. Do not rely on inspiration, rely on design. Place difficulty deliberately into your days. A harder workout, a longer silence, an uncomfortable conversation, an extra hour of study. Discipline is not built in grand gestures, but in quiet repetitions. Each act of discomfort deposits strength in the bank of character. Interest compounds with every repetition until one day you wake and realize that what once felt impossible now feels essential. Do not be fooled by the myth of balance. Balance is not equality of comfort. It is harmony of purpose. You cannot live an extraordinary life by living like everyone else. You will have to sacrifice approval for authenticity, leisure for leadership, distraction for direction, but you will gain something rarer: control over your own narrative. Most never experience that freedom because they refuse to endure the apprenticeship of effort. Emotional detachment will protect your focus. The moment you attach your sense of worth to outcomes, you become a prisoner of circumstance. Detachment does not mean apathy, it means composure. It is the quiet strength of a man who knows that effort is his domain and result is the universe's. When you detach, you remain stable through success and failure alike. Success becomes feedback. Failure becomes instruction. Both lose the power to disturb your peace. Train your mind to value process over praise. The undisciplined crave applause. The disciplined crave advancement. Praise fades. Progress compounds. Let others chase recognition. You chase refinement. For when you perfect the inner mechanism, the outer rewards must follow by law. The marketplace eventually bows to mastery, but mastery bows to discipline first. Self-discipline is the foundation upon which all other virtues stand. Without it, courage collapses under pressure, faith falters under fear, and vision dies under distraction. Discipline is the parent of every success you admire. It is the unseen force behind every great performance, invention, and transformation in history. And like every parent, it is demanding. It requires that you do what must be done, whether you feel like it or not. You will know that you are mastering discipline when you begin to act automatically in alignment with your purpose. The brain rewires itself through repetition. What begins as forced will soon become natural. The tasks that once felt heavy will feel light because your identity has changed. You are no longer someone who tries to be disciplined. You are discipline embodied. At this stage, something profound occurs. Peace enters. Not the peace of inactivity, but the peace of alignment. When your actions, intentions, and emotions move in one direction, resistance disappears. You stop fighting yourself. That internal harmony produces external power. People will notice your calm. They will feel your steadiness. They will mistake it for luck, not realizing that calmness is earned. Calmness is the ultimate evidence of control. The untrained panic when plans change. The trained adapt. The untrained argue with reality. The trained reshape it. Calmness is not stillness. It is precision under pressure. It is the art of remaining deliberate when others drown in haste. It is the quiet confidence of one who knows that no event is stronger than his ability to respond to it. To cultivate calmness, practice mental neutrality. Neutrality does not mean passivity, it means objectivity. Look at every situation as data, not drama. Ask, what does this reveal? What can I learn? What action aligns with my purpose? Emotion screams for attention, but wisdom whispers for analysis. Listen to the whisper. The man who can remain still when emotion roars is a rare man indeed, and rarity is power. Remember always, reaction is the language of the undisciplined. Response is the dialect of kings. The difference between the two determines whether you live by cause or by consequence. To live by cause is to act from inner law. To live by consequence is to drift under external influence. The choice is made in every moment you encounter resistance. Detachment also means releasing the need to be understood. You cannot build an uncommon mind while seeking common approval. The masses will mock what they fear. They will call your detachment cold, your discipline obsession, your focus arrogance. Smile and continue. You are not here to be liked, you are here to be effective. Every great builder was misunderstood in the beginning. The same silence they called arrogance, they later call wisdom. Let time vindicate your methods. When you train your brain to crave the hard path, you are not merely building success, you are building self-respect. The respect you have for yourself will always determine how you allow the world to treat you. Weak effort breeds weak esteem. Strong effort breeds silent confidence. No external reward can match the pride of knowing you have mastered your impulses and fulfilled your own standard. There will be days when the mind resists violently, days when you will doubt, delay, and detest the very work you vowed to love. That is when the real training happens. Anyone can be disciplined on a good day. Mastery is forged on bad days. When fatigue whispers surrender, act once more. When fear begs avoidance, step forward anyway. Every refusal to retreat becomes another link in the chain of your unbreakable will. Persistence will separate you from 99% of people. Most begin with enthusiasm but end with excuse. They treat challenge as punishment rather than privilege. But the disciplined see challenge as confirmation proof that they are on the path worth walking. The road to mastery is narrow and uphill, but the air at the summit is clean, and the view reveals everything you once thought impossible. If you are willing to endure, your mind will eventually turn struggle into sustenance. The same heat that melts wax hardens clay. Which are you? Will you soften under pressure, or will you strengthen? That question must be answered not in speech, but in repetition, in every small moment where you choose action over avoidance. Keep walking. Keep refining. Keep pushing the limits of your comfort until comfort itself evolves. The disciplined do not live without fatigue, they live beyond it. They feel the same pain as everyone else, but they have taught their minds to interpret it differently. To them, fatigue is a milestone, not a warning. It says, you are closer to expansion. And when your mind finally learns to enjoy that sensation, the strain, the stretch, the push, you will have entered the realm of the masters. You will no longer need motivation. You will have momentum. You will wake eager for the fight because the fight itself is your fulfillment. This is what it means to force your brain to crave doing hard things. It is not to remove struggle, but to redefine pleasure. It is to find satisfaction in effort, meaning in movement, and joy in endurance. Once you have done this, no task will intimidate you, no failure will cripple you, and no challenge will feel foreign. You will live in a state of perpetual evolution, always refining, always ascending, always free. When the mind learns to find joy in resistance, life itself transforms. Everything you once feared becomes fuel. Everything you once avoided becomes opportunity. The world stops looking like a collection of problems and begins to look like a gym for the soul. Every difficulty becomes a weight, and each repetition of endurance makes you stronger. That is when you know the conditioning has worked, when pain no longer discourages you but excites you, when the hard thing becomes the right thing, and the right thing becomes the only thing you desire. The greatest minds in history were not free from struggle, they were fascinated by it. They understood that hardship was the raw material of greatness. Thomas Edison once said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. The perspiration he spoke of is not mere labor. It is persistence in the face of endless trial. It is the refusal to let failure define identity. The man who loves the experiment cannot be defeated by error. Each failure is a new piece of data. Each obstacle, a new dimension of understanding. The same applies to the training of your mind. When you fail to remain disciplined, when you relapse into comfort, when emotion overcomes reason, do not fall into self-condemnation. Analyze. Observe, adjust. Every slip reveals a weakness in structure. Strengthen it. Each relapse teaches you the areas where belief has not yet taken root. Reinforce it. The process of mastery is not perfection. It is continuous correction. Most people quit because they mistake repetition for stagnation. They believe that if they face the same struggles again, they are not progressing. But repetition is the forge of transformation. The sculptor must strike the same chisel 1,000 times before the statue takes form. The musician must play the same scales until the fingers obey instinctively. The disciplined mind must face the same temptation again and again until resistance becomes reflex. Do not despise the repetition. It is proof that your mind is still in training. To force your brain to crave doing hard things, you must feed it a vision large enough to justify the effort. A small goal cannot sustain great discipline. Purpose magnifies endurance. The soldier does not march for the march itself. He marches for the cause he serves. Without a cause, the march becomes meaningless. Ask yourself, what mission makes difficulty desirable? What outcome is so magnificent that no hardship feels excessive? Find that vision, and challenge becomes devotion. Your vision must be clear, personal, and definite. General ambition produces general results. I want to be successful is not a purpose. It is a wish. I will master my mind and direct my life with power, that is purpose. I will build something that endures beyond my years, that is purpose. I will live each day as a demonstration of discipline, clarity, and courage, that is purpose. Purpose is not a dream, it is a decision with a deadline. It is the direction that organizes every fragment of your mind into one force. When purpose dominates, distraction dies. Every petty irritation loses importance because it does not serve the mission. You no longer waste emotion on opinions, gossip, or envy. You learn to let the small remain small. The man of purpose is immune to provocation because he has no time for it. Every ounce of energy is directed toward progress. The mind that focuses completely on a single goal becomes unstoppable. But purpose without self-control is like fire. Without a container, it burns wildly and destroys what it should empower. You must pair intensity with calmness. Calmness is not weakness, it is controlled energy. The calm man can hold pressure the way a dam holds water, silently, powerfully, productively. The undisciplined leak their power through emotion. The disciplined store it until it moves worlds. Calmness gives rise to patience. Patience is not passive, it is preparation. The impatient man acts in panic and loses direction. The patient man acts in sequence and multiplies results. Impatience is the child of doubt, patience is the child of faith. Impatience says, I must see results now. Faith says, I am building something that cannot fail if I persist. You must decide which voice to trust. If you wish to command your mind, you must command time. Do not live as though you have infinite tomorrows. Discipline is forged in the awareness of mortality. Each moment misused is a moment stolen from mastery. Each indulgence in laziness is an insult to purpose. You will never rise while you believe there is still time to delay. Progress demands urgency, not frantic motion, but sacred seriousness. The disciplined live as if each hour matters, because it does. You must also learn the art of self-respect through solitude. Solitude is not isolation, it is alignment. In solitude, you meet your real self without distraction. Most people cannot bear silence because silence reveals truth, and truth requires change. Sit alone often, study your thoughts. Identify the patterns that lead you away from greatness. Replace them with patterns that lead you toward it. The man who cannot be alone cannot lead, for leadership requires clarity unpolluted by noise. Do not fear being misunderstood. The disciplined will always appear strange to the undisciplined. The world admires ease and mocks endurance. It praises pleasure and despises persistence. Let it. History is written by those who ignored mockery long enough to make results undeniable. You owe no explanation to mediocrity. You owe only obedience to your mission. As your mind strengthens, you will notice that effort begins to feel like freedom. The weight that once felt heavy will become light. The tasks you used to postpone will become invitations to power. You will seek out the difficult because difficulty is now the only environment in which you feel alive. The brain has learned that challenge equals growth, and growth equals joy. This state is not theoretical. It is achievable through repetition. You must train until doing hard things becomes identity, not obligation. Identity is destiny. Once you believe, I am the kind of person who does what must be done, the brain aligns every system in support of that truth. Doubt vanishes because it contradicts self-concept. Procrastination loses meaning because it no longer fits the pattern of who you are. The most dangerous belief in the world is, that's just who I am. No, you are who you train yourself to be. Identity is not found, it is constructed. Every thought, every choice, every repetition lays another brick in that construction. You can build yourself into anything through deliberate consistency. Decide who you must become to live the life you desire, and begin rehearsing that version daily until it becomes natural. You will not notice the change at first. Transformation happens quietly, beneath awareness. Then one day, the mirror of circumstance will show you who you have become. The tasks that once terrified you will feel like habit. The goals that once seemed unreachable will feel inevitable. That is when you realize that mastery is not an event, it is a condition. The condition of mastery is peace. The man who has conquered his emotions, who has made discipline his pleasure, who acts from reason rather than reaction, he is unshakable. He is not cold. He is composed. He is not distant. He is deliberate. He lives with the quiet pride of one who owns himself completely. In this state, you no longer chase success. Success follows you. You no longer seek recognition. Recognition finds you. You no longer pursue validation. Validation becomes irrelevant. You have reversed the polarity of effort. You no longer move toward reward. Reward gravitates toward you because you are the type of person who creates value effortlessly through consistency. You will begin to see that everything in life operates by law. The law of sowing and reaping, the law of cause and effect, the law of belief in creation. The undisciplined break these laws and call it bad luck. The disciplined obey them and call it destiny. There are no accidents for the man who has mastered himself. Every outcome is an effect of inner cause. To force your brain to crave doing hard things is to align with these laws. Hard things are simply the universe's method of refining you. Each challenge is a test of worthiness, not in the eyes of others, but in the eyes of natural law. The man who keeps his head when others lose theirs proves he is ready to receive more power. Life will always test before it trusts. Pass the test by acting with calm courage. And never forget, you cannot cheat the process. Every shortcut is a detour disguised as progress. Every act of laziness compounds against you. The mind keeps perfect accounting. It remembers every broken promise, every unfinished task, every avoided challenge, and it records them as proof against your confidence. To rebuild confidence, you must keep promises to yourself. Each completed act of discipline deposits integrity into the vault of self-respect. When that vault is full, doubt cannot enter. This is why the man of discipline walks with quiet confidence. His strength is not arrogance, it is evidence. He knows what he has endured, he knows what he has conquered. He trusts himself because he has tested himself. The opinion of others cannot shake him because he has earned the only opinion that matters, his own. Now you see the truth. The mind craves whatever it believes gives it power. If you teach it that comfort is power, it will seek comfort forever and die unfulfilled. If you teach it that struggle is power, it will seek struggle forever and die unbroken. The choice is yours. The training begins anew every morning. There will come a day when all of this work, every repetition, every silent morning, every decision made in defiance of emotion, will reveal its meaning. You will wake and feel no internal war. The mind that once resisted now responds. The body that once complained now cooperates. The fear that once paralyzed now provokes you into movement. This is the moment when discipline becomes instinct. The fight becomes the flow. The hard thing becomes the familiar. You will walk into challenges with a calm smile, for you will know that you are equal to anything that dares to test you. This is the state the ancients called mastery. It is not perfection. It is not the absence of emotion. It is harmony between thought, feeling, and action. You are no longer torn between what you know you should do and what you want to do. The two have become one. The mind that once sought comfort now seeks conquest. The heart that once craved rest now craves purpose. At that level, success ceases to be an event. It becomes a rhythm. You are no longer chasing results. You are creating them naturally, inevitably, automatically. Your thoughts have become the script of achievement, and your actions its living performance. The world adjusts to your certainty the way a compass adjusts to north. It cannot help but respond. You have become magnetic. The reason few reach this point is not that it is impossible, it is that it demands full ownership. You cannot delegate discipline, you cannot outsource mastery, you cannot buy courage. You must earn it in the crucible of personal confrontation. Each man must meet himself unarmed and decide who will win, his higher self or his habits. Those who surrender to habit become spectators. Those who master the self become creators. Creation is the privilege of the disciplined. Only the calm mind can command chaos. Only the detached mind can shape destiny. Emotion clouds, discipline clarifies. Emotion reacts, discipline responds. Emotion consumes, discipline converts. That conversion, the alchemy of turning fear into focus, pain into persistence, confusion into clarity, is the highest form of human art. You must treat your mind as an instrument of creation. Tune it daily, sharpen its strings through silence, cleanse its tone through gratitude, play it with precision. Every word you speak is a note, every thought a chord, every action a composition. When discipline conducts the orchestra, your life becomes symphony. When emotion conducts it, your life becomes noise. The world will hear the difference. There will still be storms, but you will no longer fear them. Storms are the universe's way of polishing the soul. They strip away weakness, pride, complacency. They remind you that strength without humility is brittle. They teach you that calmness is not found in escaping pressure, but in containing it. And when you have learned this, you will realize that even the storm obeys the mind that will not break. Remember always, the mind obeys its master. If you do not master it, it will master you. The undisciplined man lives like a leaf in the wind, blown by moods, directed by others, shaped by circumstance. The disciplined man lives like a mountain, silent, immovable, shaping the wind itself. The world eventually yields to the one who does not yield to himself. Do not be fooled by the simplicity of these truths. To apply them is to rebuild your entire inner world. It will feel at times like tearing down an old house while still living in it. You will have to destroy patterns that once gave you comfort. You will have to unlearn the language of excuse, the dialect of delay. You will have to face the parts of yourself that you have hidden behind noise and distraction. This is the real work, the quiet, unseen reconstruction of the self. But if you persist, if you keep walking through the discomfort, a transformation will come. The timid voice of doubt will fade. The constant craving for validation will vanish. In their place will rise a steady flame, a knowing that you are enough, that you can endure, that you can command. This flame is not ego. It is essence. It is the light of self-trust, and it burns quietly but endlessly. From that moment forward, your life becomes a demonstration of law. You will understand that every thought is a seed, every emotion a signal, every act a cause. You will walk through the world as both observer and participant, aware that nothing is random, that every effect traces back to an inner decision. When others panic, you will plan. When others doubt, you will decide. When others wait, you will work. You will become the calm center in the chaos of others' storms. And then, only then, will you grasp the true meaning of power. Power is not dominance over others, it is dominance over self. It is the ability to remain unmoved when others tremble, to stay silent when others shout, to stay focused when others flee. The truly powerful have no need to prove it. Their calmness speaks louder than words. At this point, you will see that the hard things were never enemies. They were teachers. They sculpted your mind into precision, your heart into courage, your spirit into resilience. You will thank every failure for its instruction, every rejection for its redirection, every hardship for its refinement. You will realize that without resistance, there can be no strength. Without sacrifice, no greatness. Without discipline, no freedom. And that is the final paradox. Discipline, which begins as restraint, ends as liberation. Emotional detachment, which feels like loss at first, becomes peace. The mind that once fought against itself now moves as one organism, one purpose, one will. You no longer need to force yourself to do hard things, you crave them. They are the food of your evolution. You hunger for growth the way the weak hunger for ease. And in that hunger, you have found immortality not in years, but in impact. Because the disciplined mind leaves footprints that time cannot erase. It builds, creates, uplifts. It inspires others to rise above the hypnosis of comfort. It proves by example that man was not born to drift, but to direct, not to suffer mindlessly, but to shape meaning from struggle. The disciplined mind becomes a living testament to what is possible when a human being decides to command himself fully. So the next time your emotions beg for retreat, remember who you are. The next time your mind complains, remind it who serves whom. When fear knocks, open the door with confidence. When laziness whispers, drown it out with movement. When doubt creeps in, speak the language of decision. Tell yourself, I was not made for ease. I was made for evolution. I do not shrink from the hard thing. I devour it. And when the world asks how you became so composed, so focused, so unbreakable, you will not need to answer. Your calmness will answer for you. Your discipline will testify. Your results will speak. For the man who rules himself rules all. That is how you force your brain to crave doing hard things, by deciding that difficulty is not punishment, but proof of power, by teaching your mind that growth is pleasure and stagnation is death, by living so deliberately that the world bends itself around your certainty. In the end, there is no secret. There is only the work. And the work, when done long enough, becomes the way.